In today's video, we're talking about adding muscle to your body after 60 years of age with John Hansen. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Arbella from ProPhysique.com, and today I got Coach John Hansen. So John is actually a coach for ProPhysique, and you've been crushing it, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've been getting great feedback from John. And last year, kind of out of the blue, we met up and decided you were going to do a show.
Yeah.
And under my guidance, which was fun for me because you've been competing. When's the first time you competed? Had to be the 80s, right?
79.
Oh my Lord. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. 6 decades.
Yeah,
bro.
unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. So 79, that's got to be a record. But you ended up winning, and pretty convincingly, at the Mel Chansey show, the Holiday Classic, and it was a big show.
Yeah,
great.
It was the biggest show in Florida of the year. Yeah.
And I got the feeling that it kind of reinvigorated you, like you had some new goals again, right?
Yeah.
I think as competitive bodybuilders, you start to run out of things, because what was the first major title you won? It was like Mr. Illinois?
Mr. Illinois when I was 23.
What year was that?
86.
23, you were in 86. Okay. So then you won the natural Mr. Olympia. I don't know if that title's still around. Is it still around?
Yeah, it's still around. Yeah,
okay.
They still do it. That was in 98.
98. Okay, so another 13 years after that. So the first rule of looking like John, and how old are you now, John?
62.
At 62? Is don't start lifting at 62, okay? John was lifting since he was a teenager and he never stopped.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is an element of bodybuilding that is literally just delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk to you guys today about some keys in putting on muscle at 60, because John has, over the last couple of years, actually improved his physique from where you were maintaining, because you typically just diet down and do like a photo shoot.
Yeah, every like 2 or 3 years.
Prior to last year, you hadn't competed in like 8 years, you told me?
8 years, yeah.
So, and then actually right now we're in prep. So if you guys want more information, John and I live very close. We can film some content around his prep this year. I'm actually dieting down as well. I don't have plans to compete, but I may. But if you'd like to see more about his prep, talk about, you know, the process of competing, cardio, training, nutrition, supplement protocols, all those things, I'd love to do that. John also has a fantastic channel. He just had a video have like 200,000 views in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So go check out his channel. I'll put all that information below. But we talked a little bit about 3 major things that you feel are most effective for allowing you to continue to build muscle, and for someone that's getting into this to build muscle at 60. So let's talk about most important one.
Well, I would say the first one is I still use the compound movements. You know, I don't use a lot of machines. I still use a lot of, you know, we've done training videos before, a lot of barbells, dumbbells. These were the movements and these were the exercises that allowed me to build my physique in the first place. So I figure if I can still do those movements, they're still effective. That's why I still continue to do them, as long as it's safe. You know, like I had to switch from regular barbell squats a couple years ago to doing them on a Smith machine, because I was getting some kind of problem in my left hip and I couldn't figure it out. It was some kind of imbalance. So I switched to Smith machine squats. I'm still able to build my legs. I'm actually able to go much deeper because you don't have to worry about balance and stuff with the Smith machine. So I do make adjustments like that when I need to, but as long as I can stick with the compound movements with the barbells and dumbbells, I'll do that, you know.
So you're saying like a compound movement, for those that aren't familiar, it's multiple joints, multiple muscles. And so an isolation exercise would be like a leg extension.
Yes.
Which I think, you know, trainers are going to put older people on stuff that is less risky, both for the insurance benefits. But what you're saying is these compound movements, because you've been doing this for so long and you're so familiar with them, they've allowed you to continue to improve.
Yeah. That's what built my physique in the first place. So I figure, why not stay with that? Yeah.
So a lot of people don't think of, you know, we think of a golf swing, right, as a skill, right? There's a lot of squatting, benching, deadlifting, rowing. These are skills, right? There are multiple muscle groups involved, and you get better at them over time.
Yes, absolutely.
So the thing about a squat, especially a back squat, is there might not be many muscles in the body you're not using.
Yeah.
You're probably not using your biceps and triceps, but you know, your forearms, you're using your upper back, you're using all the muscles of the lower body.
Yes.
Stabilizing muscles in the core. So there's a lot of value in compound movement. So I think rule number 1, building muscle over 60, don't avoid compound lifts, but just be safe.
As long as they're safe,
Yeah, be safe with them. And if you need to get a trainer to work with, you know, build up the skills to do them. Don't just get under a squat. Get a trainer that understands how to squat properly.
Yeah, and the reason I say that, Paul, is I see a lot of older people in the gym who automatically go to the machine exercises, the isolation movements. They can feel them better,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure that they're the best for building muscle mass, you know, for building strength and size. So as long as it's safe, as long as you can do it safely, as long as it doesn't hurt your shoulders, it doesn't hurt your knees, it doesn't hurt your back, you know, do that if you can.
Yeah, and I'll link another video below. We did like a full body workout, the best 10 exercises for building muscle over 50. That might have been a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, yeah.
I'm turning 50 this year, John's 60, so we're gonna have plenty of content for you guys around getting older and keeping muscle.
Yeah.
You know, compound movements, they do require a little bit more skill in the gym. Sarcopenia is a big issue as we age, and we're going to talk about all the factors that lead to that. Isolation exercises can be a great way to supplement training volume for a body part.
Yes.
But I agree, like if you're only doing isolation movements, you're going to miss out on a lot of benefits, a lot of connective movements. You know, some of the health issues as people age is, I think there's something that says like your risk of having an injury goes way up when you can no longer just squat down and stand up.
Yeah.
Body weight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you see it all the time on people on airplanes. They can't reach up and grab a bag, or they can get hurt that way. So just giving yourself the opportunity. If you look at the blue zones, I don't know if you saw that documentary on the blue zone.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
The people that live over 100 years old, they stay active. They're always walking, moving. It's almost a part of their culture that they don't change their lifestyle. So the second topic you brought up when it comes to building muscle after 60 was cardio. So give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like cardio, and you had me doing, I think, more cardio than I've ever done when I was getting ready for the contest last year.
Let's define what that cardio was.
Treadmill.
Walking
and treadmill, right, yeah.
You guys know I like it.
Yeah, so I've never used cardio a lot when I was younger, but I found that as you get older, it definitely helps with burning more calories and getting to that really lean condition. It's harder to get leaner as you get older, of course, because, you know, our bodies change. So that really helped me. But what I was saying was, and a lot of times I'll work with clients, I'm sure you have too, people try to outwork their diet with cardio exercise. So I get this all the time, like, I'm burning all these calories, why am I not losing weight? And then they're eating too low. So I think you have to use cardio as a supplement to your diet, but the diet is the main thing. And I just cautioned in this video, I cautioned against doing too much cardio. Hours and hours of cardio doesn't exactly equal leanness. You have to keep it under control. You know, if you do 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, that usually is good enough, you know, to get lean.
Yeah, well, what I find is most people don't move enough throughout the day. So if I have someone that's like a bartender or a mailman, or they're on their feet all day, they don't need to do cardio. But for the rest of us that are getting up, going to work, sitting in our car, sitting at our desk, 30, 45 minutes of walking is actually just what we should be doing. And what I find is that you don't have to get calories as low if you do some form. Now, I prefer low intensity, steady state. One thing I've noticed about you is you've been a bodybuilder your whole life. You haven't flip-flopped and gone into powerlifting. You didn't go into being a professional tennis player. So you've avoided a lot of injuries. And another thing with cardio is when I see people, you see it all the time. I just saw like Sadiq, I think, tore a hamstring running sprints. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what happened. But like that crossover, the problem there is like you're going to put yourself at risk for injury. And if you have to miss training, now you're really not going to be able to add muscle. So
that's true.
Use cardio, and the word cardio has a very definition. We can just walk down the street and that can be cardio. But most people, when they think of cardio, I think they think of jogging. Jogging would have an interference effect on adding muscle. Right? That type of endurance type cardio, I would completely avoid if your goal is to put on muscle. As you age, there is some benefit to getting your heart rate up. But if you've ever seen John train, he's getting his heart rate up on his squat sets, on his row sets. You don't need to do you don't need to do anything other than that. So
that's true.
The final piece that I feel, you're listening to a bodybuilding channel with two bodybuilders. He and I didn't even bring this up, but it's nutrition, right? So if you're giving yourself the stimulus to add muscle, you're avoiding something that's going to cause you to break down that muscle. Now you need to eat in a manner. And as we age, our protein requirements increase. So what's your protein intake right now?
220 grams.
220 grams, and John's you're at 200 pounds right now, right?
Yeah, 200 pounds exactly, yeah.
So it's not, I think when I used to read the magazines in the 90s, it was 300-400 grams of protein. And I tried it and I could, A, it was expensive, but B, I just felt like a mess all the time. we now know that, protein needs to be around a gram per pound of lean body mass. So for John, he could probably get away with 170, 180, and be just fine. But when you are in a deficit and John's in prep, there is a benefit to a little bit more also when you're over 60.
Yeah.
So for anybody out there that's over 60 and you're decently lean, I would say hit about a gram per pound.
Yes.
And if you're overweight, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm 300 pounds. Should I eat 300 grams of protein? The easiest way to figure out your protein then, just hit your target weight of protein.
Yeah.
If your goal is like, I want to be 210, hit 210 protein, that's what you're going to need to continue to build muscle. I don't want to downplay the benefits of fats and carbohydrates either. What are your macros right now on your high days?
350 on the carbs on leg days, and 50 fats, so 220 protein.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did you ever take carbs that high prior to me? Were you a high carb guy?
Yeah, I was kind of a high carb guy in the 80s and stuff. You know, when the carbs were a little bit higher back then. But yeah, I love.
Who was the carb advocate back then? Because I feel like what comes and goes in bodybuilding culture is kind of like what's in vogue with like the top guys. Was there someone back then like a Mike Menser or a, I know he was, what was it, Rich Gaspari used to talk about carbs. He was the first person I ever saw track macros.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he was the first one weighing his food and counting everything. Yeah. It's funny how it goes in cycles, because in the 70s it was all low carbs. If you ever read any bodybuilding articles from the 70s, they all went to 50 grams of carbs when they were dieting.
I remember Arnold saying he only ate salads in prep.
Yeah.
Like that was,
So they ate high protein, high fat, very low carbs. In the 80s it switched over. It was more moderate protein, very low fat. Like I think too low, and a lot of complex carbohydrates. So all the guys did that back then. Lee Haney, Rich Gaspari, all the top bodybuilders eating a lot of carbs.
Yeah, so if a quick rule of thumb, you want about 20% of your calories to come from fat. You want to keep your protein around a gram per your goal weight or your current lean body mass. And then you want to fill the rest of your needs in with carbohydrates. If you don't even know where to start, I have a free calculator. Go to prophysique.com/calculator. You can plug in your age, your goals, your lifestyle. It's going to give you some estimates of where your macros should be. And then all you got to do is just kind of pay attention to what you're eating and kind of fine tune based on that.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of muscle building that a lot of people don't get, we talked about it a little bit, it's just you've got to do it over time. One perfect workout isn't going to do it. Right? One perfect week isn't going to do it. One perfect month isn't going to do it. You might start seeing changes in a couple weeks, but it's compounded. If it's something that you really want, you've got to just make it a part of your lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not like 4 or 5 hours a week. And I'm sure you and I have both had periods in our lives where we were in the gym for 2-3 hours. It's pretty unnecessary. But I also look back at those times fondly because I was with my friends and we were doing what we loved.
Yeah. Especially being younger, training heavy.
Yeah, but 45 to 60 minutes with a good quality session 4 to 5 days a week is really. Then that's kind of probably advanced. You could probably start out with 2 or 3 days and see great progress.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so go check out John's channel. We're gonna go hit some poses right now. We're checking in with him because he's only got a few weeks of prep left. Like what, 9 weeks?
9 weeks from this weekend. Yeah.
So, and this is the St. Pete Pro. David Herskovitz show here in St. Petersburg. Great promoter, great judge. So if you're in the area, I think it's June 9th.
No, the weekend. Oh, June
1st?
The end of June.
End of June 29th.
June 29th,
okay,
yes.
All right, well, I'll put the link to David's show below, but let's go see John hit some poses and then we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good, let's see a quarter turn. Face the back. Let's just hit a rear double bicep. And side chest. Good. Face front. Front lat spread. Those lats are just hanging off the side of your body. Good. Yeah. Yeah, man. You look great. Here, do it. You're like right there.
Yeah.
Looks a lot thicker. Even maybe a little here. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like your back came up a little bit too.
Did it?
Your lats look like they're a little more hangy. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see you diet it down because you're still.
Yeah.
What did we get down to? 193?
191.
Okay. So yeah, if we get anywhere near 190, we're gonna be look crazy. Yeah.
Think it'll be a little later?
I just think Probably not for the first show. We'll be about 190, 191 for the first show. But I think what'll happen is once you get down to stage lean and we bring the food up and drop the cardio, you'll start getting leaner and fuller and leaner and fuller. Like we won't have to really grind after that.
Yeah.
We only have what, a week?
Yeah, a week in between.
Yeah, so yeah, we probably want to be ready a couple weeks out so we can be doing those, because you started responding really well when we were doing the testing of the peak week.
Yeah.
With the food going up and then we would deplete and then the food would go up and you were dropping. And then the week of the show you were dropping.
Yes, so that was crazy. As I was increasing the carbs, the weight was going down. So.
Yep, so that's what we want again.
Yeah.
I think the same thing will happen.
Peak week or just the peak week?
I think we'll do a couple. We'll do at least one mock peak week.
Okay.
Just so it's very predictable.
Yeah.
And especially because it's back to back. So we'll do at least, I'd say we'll do 2 weeks out a mock, 1 week out a mock, the week of the show, and then we'll have 3 weeks of data. Because honestly, the show in St. Pete's for fun.
Yeah.
You've already qualified, you've already won, so.
So warm up.
Yeah, it's more of like just making sure we're crossing our T's, dotting our I's.